You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast. And this is show number 580 for Sunday, the 25th of January, 2026.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jayne Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jayne.
Hello there, Michelle. I can't believe we're almost at the end of January. Where's the month gone?
It's been a bit of a long one, love.
Oh, aye, because paydays and all that, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
I forget I don't have those anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like an eternity. And I think there's been quite a lot of things happening in the world of Disney over the last few sort of days. I've not yet had the opportunity to watch Handcrafted. I am so excited to do it. Have you?
Yes, can I give you some recommendation?
Get a big box of popcorn and watch it.
It's. I think it comes up at about an hour and 18 minutes. It flies by, I have to say. We watched it last night. You can watch it on Disney Plus. You can also watch it on YouTube. Now, I personally pay for Disney Plus with the adverts. So we decided to look at the YouTube and figured, well, actually on YouTube, it's been broadcast in 4K, which is better than what I'm getting on Disney Plus.
Good point.
And on YouTube, I might be able to skip the adverts. Yeah?
Yeah.
We watched it on YouTube, uninterrupted. No adverts.
Oh, top tip there, Jayne.
So if you are and you haven't got Disney Plus, don't worry about it. It is there on the old YouTubes and it is fascinating. The way that Leslie Iwerks has been able to do it by recreating the story through all this found footage. You've got voiceovers, you name it. Every name that you've ever heard of to do with those early days of Disney and Disneyland in particular pops up with a voiceover, and it just strings the whole story along together beautifully. But you do sit there going, oh my goodness, they did this in under a year. Did they not know what they were getting themselves into? And very evidently they didn't, but it's somehow pulled through. And I would just say, Michelle, we did have a few giggles along the way, because you're watching this very old footage of construction in 1954. Let's just say, construction don't work like that no more. There was a few bits you're going, oh my goodness, where's the hard hat? There's no safety rope on that man. So it's very interesting from that point of view as well. So absolutely fascinating watch. I loved every minute of it. I would quite happily sit down and watch it again tonight.
Oh, but on YouTube.
But YouTube for the win, yeah.
I have seen a few vloggers that have talked about it who were able to see an advance copy, and they were saying like virtually everyone was smoking, virtually no safety, requirements at all seemed to be in place anywhere. So,
evidently, hard hats and high vis had not been invented at this point in time.
Well, that's why they could do it for the price they did it at, Jayne, because they didn't have to. Oh, I'm going to put this light bulb in. Right, well, let's just write a risk assessment, get you a harness, get you some ladder training.
No.
And then, we're going to have to do this and we're going to have to do... Before you know it, putting in a new light bulb costs 250 quid.
But I think what comes through, in all seriousness, we are joking about it, but I think what I took away from it was the can-do attitude that everybody had. This hadn't been done before. People didn't really know what they were doing when they said, oh, I know, we'll have a ride with a boat that goes on water. The fact that they built the Mark Twain in pieces to get it to where it needed to be. Wherefore that these people had to come up with solutions to problems that they were facing. And it was literally, well, this is what we'd like to do. How are we going to do it? Well, nobody's done it before. Let's just get on and do it. And, amazing what they were able to create just from being willing to have a go and use their imaginations and their creativity, whether that creativity was in reconstructing something to look, like Neverland or whatever it may well have been, or whether it was a creativity in the engineering and the construction aspects of Disneyland. Absolutely fascinating.
I cannot wait to go and get settled in front of the fire, some nice little food, and watch that. And while we are talking of food, Jayne, the International Festival of the Arts. Food has been enjoyed by visitors. Lists have been made of the best, the worst, the must get, the mustn't get. And it's quite interesting to see which countries are not faring too goodly at the moment with
Oh,
their food. So I thought I'd just have a few sort of seconds indulgence with that.
okay, okay. I must admit,
And
I've not really seen an awful lot, so this will be all news to me as well.
let's talk about something that looks absolutely fantastic. Every year, when we come to talking about the Festival of the Arts, we mention about the deconstructed key lime pie. And traditionally, this has been like a very well gelatined ribbon of
Mm,
key lime across a plate, and the deconstruction has happened around it.
yes.
This year, they've gone on a completely different tangent and constructed the
Mm.
deconstructed dish, and it seems to be the meringue base with the key lime on top, and it literally to me looks like a fried egg,
Yeah, I have seen a photo of that, and that was my first thought as well.
and it has waffle cone triangles, so it's sort of like a chips and dip key lime pie.
Yeah, I wonder what those triangles were. I say I saw a photo, but I never got a chance to investigate further. So waffle. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I highly recommend, from what people are telling me, to beeline to the deconstructed dish
Ooh.
to try this and have a bit of a sharing thing going on. And then to also try the deconstructed BLT, which is the pork belly, soft poached egg, onion bread pudding, watercress espuma, and tomato jam. And both of those would just set you off about $13 for the two, and they sound great.
Well, it's nice to hear that some things are getting good reviews.
One that I don't see either myself or you actually going cray cray for, because
Mm.
one, I think carbs, two, I think British, and three, I think ooh, is the popcorn chicken and waffles with rainbow popcorn chicken, mini mozzarella balls, and maple syrup.
I love the mozzarella balls.
Yeah, well, I thought that. I thought all of those things, maybe not the rainbow popcorn because I don't eat popcorn, but I'd eat the waffles, I'd eat the chicken, I'd eat the cheese, I'd eat the waffle, but not together. But
No.
it's going down great guns. Everybody I have
Oh,
spoken
okay.
to who has tried it has said it is fantastic. It's probably one of the better dishes you can get from the Odyssey building. I've also had some really bad feedback about the colour scheme cake, and it looks a bit like a small bundt cake with different colours of the rainbow with Skittles. And I've had some really bad reviews about that. The spoon almost breaking to try and break through the cake.
Oh, wow.
So that's maybe one to miss.
So it obviously looks pretty, doesn't actually deliver on the end result, shall we say?
Yeah. Two that you should definitely miss. The first is in the Japan Pavilion,
Mm.
and that's the Wagyu bun. And to me, it just is wrong. You don't want to eat a purple bun stuffed with what looks like minced beef.
Yeah, it doesn't look particularly appetising. I'm not one for the bao buns though either, so maybe that's why it doesn't appeal to me.
But if you want this type of food, go to Satuli Canteen for the cheeseburger pods.
Oh,
You'll thank me
absolutely.
later.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've had a bad meal at Satuli, so I would,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, recommend hand down.
The other one is from China, and that's the char siu pork bun. And I cannot believe the pitiful amount of pork. I'm going to call it the pitiful panda pork bun because, oh my word, it's so disappointing, Jane. It just doesn't look anything. To be honest, it looks almost as bad as a similar dish they have on the Disney Wish at the Marvel dinner
Oh,
place
okay.
with the char siu pork there, because it's like you're expecting, oh, char siu pork, yay, lovely,
Mm.
fantastic, in a nice little bun, and you get one, and it's like, is that it?
Oh, that's
Oh,
a shame. Because back in the day when I used to eat Chinese, I don't tend to eat Chinese very much now because it's too sweet for me. But Charles Sweetport was always one I'd go for.
Yeah. So
That's a
anyway,
shame.
so that's it on the food count from me till a little bit later on in the podcast.
Mm.
I gather, Jane, you've
Mm.
got some exciting news coming our way all the way from Disneyland.
Yeah, well, it's Star Wars related, so it seems only right that I should talk about this really. So yeah, this is the whole announcement that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge are changing their timeline over at Disneyland. No word about it happening at Disney World, but this is happening at Disneyland, and it's kind of, although it's not going to be officially all done until April the 29th, it sounds very much like a lot of these things will be creeping in over the forthcoming weeks and months. The main take from it is that they're splitting the area to include not only the sequel trilogy, but going back and honouring the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a mega fan of the sequels. The prequels I've grown to love, but the OG is kind of where I would put my big love of Star Wars. I also think for the vast majority of people out in the big wide world who aren't hardcore Star Wars fans, if you say Star Wars to most people, the chances are they'll come back and say, oh yeah, Darth Vader, or Harrison Ford, or that little gold robot thing. That's sort of response that you'll get. So this is kind of, I think it's long overdue that Disney are recognising that in order to appeal to the masses, you need to bring in these favourite characters. So you're going to start to see the likes of Darth Vader, Leia Organa, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker will be your roaming or potentially your roaming characters. Rey will still continue to be a character, but she will be more in the resistance area around the First Order, Rise of Resistance, that sort of area. They're also going to start playing John Williams' Star Wars music, which they don't play at the moment. I do think that the soundscape that they have in Galaxy's Edge is amazing. If you just sit and listen, you can hear all the noises that you'd expect in like a busy market town. You've got communications happening above you. You've got the sound of vehicles moving around you. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bring in all those anthemic themes that we know from Star Wars into the land without it feeling like it's just another attraction-based land that's got music in it, if you know what I mean. So that's going to be interesting to see how they're actually going to play it all out. So basically, this kind of means that when they developed Batuu, Black Spire Outpost, it was being set in a very specific point within the sequel trilogy. So now what they're doing is saying, oh, well, we know that now, but actually, you know what we're going to turn around and say is this, that Batuu isn't just relevant to that point in Star Wars history. It's been around in the galaxy for hundreds of years out there on the Outer Rim, and therefore we can encapsulate more of the stories of Star Wars that you know and love. You're going to experience the New Republic as well as what they call the Age of the Resistance to the First Order. To the unacquainted, you may not realise that the stormtroopers that you see inside Rise of the Resistance are not the same as the stormtroopers you would see in Star Wars A New Hope. If you're into your Star Wars, you can recognise all this. So this is kind of where it all plays in. So they're going to split the area up. So your Rise of the Resistance is going to be the area that echoes the newer films, and then as you move through towards Ogre's Cantina, that type of area, that's going to be more akin to your original Star Wars era. It sounds quite complicated, but I think if you just recognise that they're kind of getting away from it being very time specific and therefore opening you up to more things, I think is probably the easiest way to look at it. So what they've said at the moment is you're going to have the Imperial March playing, you're going to have Darth Vader is going to be searching for Luke, and that's brought him down to Batuu. You're going to have Leia, Han and Luke along with Chewbacca all together. Luke is going to be roaming the outpost looking for knowledge of the Force. Leia may be spotted near the Millennium Falcon, where she'll recruit travellers and locals to help keep Luke safe. And Han Solo will also linger around his, as they call it, his prized ship. You're also going to be able to counter characters that you can already encounter, which is like Ahsoka, the Mandalorian and Grogu, Boba Fett, they'll still be around. R2D2 is also going to be out there, which is great for us because I love a bit of a droid happening. Going to have I suspect, lots of cosmetic changes going on. There are a few storyline changes that are going to happen as well to make things fit better within the timeline. I think like Ogre's Cantina, they turn around and say the Cantina band will be heard from within Ogre's Cantina. If you go into Ogre's, there is a playlist that DJ Rex plays, and the Cantina band song that everybody knows is actually within that playlist. But obviously they're making a big deal about making it obvious that you're going to hear that. And what they're going to turn around and say is that Ogre's Cantina is now just a new watering hole, so to speak. So rather than it being there for years and years and years, it's quite new to the galaxy. So they're just doing a few little twists on things like that. The First Order cargo store will now become Black Spire Surplus. So again, just changing a few of the names. Dok-Ondar's Den of Antiquities will have a new different array of items from the past. So it'll probably show you, if you look around that store, which is amazing anyway, but there'll be more in there that will harken back to earlier Star Wars episodes. And to get around Droid Depot, they're basically going to say it's an earlier generation of the family that will be operating that, where they're prototyping the BB-8 style of droid, because obviously that round droid wouldn't have existed in the original Star Wars. So there's just little tweaks like that they're making. So yeah, and it's kind of all happening very organically, I think, with it being official on this April the 29th. I did see, I caught a YouTube vlog yesterday, and they were talking about the fact that for Ogre's Cantina, the opening time seemed to have disappeared off the Disney Parks website and app. So, which kind of implies a bit of downtime for Ogre's. So, if that is correct, and I've not looked into it myself, so this is a bit of I've heard a rumour type of approach here. It'd be interesting to see why it's having to go down if the changes are only minor. One thought was that originally Ogre's Cantina was going to be more of a lounge area to a restaurant. Are they bringing in a full kitchen to do more food options that would need a better kitchen than what they've maybe currently got? Because we know they only do like snacky type things there at the moment. Who knows? So that will be interesting to see, because I'm not sure how they would need to dress it any differently to make it fit in with different timelines. Because to be fair to the whole of Batuu and the Black Spire Outpost, it is very Star Wars in its aesthetic. I consider myself a pretty decent Star Wars fan. My other half is definitely more so than I am, and he can maybe spot anomalies. But for me, walking around, I go, oh look, it's Star Wars, and I'm quite happy with that vibe. And you only really kind of notice it by the characters that are currently there, and say particularly like Rise of the Resistance is very much set in that sequel era, because you have Finn in there, you have Poe Dameron in there, you've got characters that are only in the sequel movies. So that is probably why that ride isn't getting touched, because I suspect if they wanted to change that to OG Star Wars, that's going to cost a fair penny to update. So yeah, so changes happening. It'll be interesting to see how it all transpires, and whether or not it ultimately works its way over to Disney World.
It will be interesting to see if that does happen. The little voices I've been sort of hearing murmuring around at the moment, it's going to be Disneyland, and I think there's a train of thought that has said that for some hardcore Star Wars fans, that this ain't going to do it for them either. But for some Star Wars fans, it's going to give a lot more accessibility to a wider range of characters if they are very careful with their placement of their, say, meet and greets and the area and the zone that they are going to be meeting in.
Yes, absolutely.
But I can imagine backstage with all of these costumes and making sure you get the right stormtrooper in the right backdrop. There is a lot to take on board. And I think perhaps some of the merchandise that they have been selling in the stores may not have gone the way that it would have been seen to have sold as well as it could have done, because it's like, this isn't the Star Wars I want to be buying. I want to be buying XYZ.
Exactly.
So this revamp, as in all things I think Disney do, is driven by cash, and the cash ain't coming in the merch, and people aren't as enthralled with the area as they possibly could be. So let's try and see what we can do in Disneyland to duct tape things up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we will see, Jane.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. Simon actually has the art of Batu, the art of Galaxy's Edge book, and you look at the very early concept drawings, and it's very evident that the way that it was laid out looked like it was going to be Tatooine, looked like it was going to be the Rebel base on Hoth, and possibly even some of it was going to be Endor. Things then obviously took a change, and I think for those of us in the Star Wars community that are very passionate about Star Wars, may look at that change and go, well, the person that came in to run Lucasfilm had her own ideas of where she wanted it to go, and I know that within the fan base there's a lot of people that are quite happy that Kathleen Kennedy has stepped down this past week or so as well. So there's lots of change happening within Lucasfilm, and within Disney, obviously, with losing a high profile head of a department, a section, a studio, whatever you want to call it, like Kathleen Kennedy. So interesting times ahead.
Very. Before I go on to another food-based item, I was doing a little bit of a look on the old Disney news, and I know how much increase I have got in my pay rise this year. Well, it's not a smidge near what CEO Bob Iger has got. His pay package rose 11.5% to a mere 45.8 million in 2025.
He's supposedly stepping down soon.
How do you manage to live on only 45.8 million?
Know.
It must be so difficult.
I struggle all the time, Shell.
I know. It must be so difficult. So then it got me thinking, well, imagine I got that kind of salary. I'm going to go to Walt Disney World next week then, and I'm going to spend a 3-week stay in Walt Disney World. What can I book? And according to the UK website, I've got a choice of 3 hotels.
Oh, go on then.
And I could only book up to 21 nights at one period anyway in one booking. The cheapest hotel I could book was Port Orleans Riverside.
Okay.
Then I could have had for £7 more French Quarter, and let's be honest, for £7 more, what, $10-11, because it's smaller and it's got beignets. But the one that absolutely blew my socks off was Disney's Art of Animation, which was almost double the price of Port Orleans, and this is only for 2 people occupancy.
Is that because you're having to go into a suite?
It wasn't a suite, no.
Oh my goodness.
So then I thought, well, why can't I book any of the other ones? So then I went forward and thought, oh, what if I did 3 weeks in March? So 3 weeks in March, how much do you reckon the most expensive hotel I could book was going to cost me?
You're not going to tell me the hotel?
Wilderness Lodge. I couldn't do anything more expensive than that. It was even more money than the Poly.
Crikey. I mean, are we just talking hotel room?
Yeah.
No flights?
Nope.
No tickets?
Dining plan.
No dining plan, no tickets.
No mug.
Well, crikey, it could be in excess of 10,000.
£18,622 precisely.
Ridiculous.
And the Art of Animation cost was $11,692.
No.
Yeah, and Port Orleans was $6,992. $45 million a year, you're going to be able to afford that.
Well, I would hope so. Otherwise, what are you doing with your money?
It's all damp back at sofa.
I wish I could find that mystery half a mil or something down the back of the sofa. I'd be well happy.
Way I'm feeling as I'm crawling towards payday, I'd be happy with a tenner, love. Disney Parks blog have announced the Garden View Lounge, the tea experience, is going to be reopening. Now, we did talk about this a while back, and I did post on our Instagram quite recently the previous offering that they had at the Grand Floridian. And I'd been, I think, 2018, and I went to the Grand Floridian for afternoon tea with our friends Sam and Ashley, and we had the Bedfordshire tea, and it was $35 back then.
Mm.
Well, it's going to be opening up again on March 19th with reservations available on February 19th, and it's going to be themed to Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
It sounds very swishy,
Mm.
and they have worked very closely with Twinings, the English tea company, to come up with some amazing loose leaf tea selections. And there's got to be a Lady Grey, because you can't have a afternoon tea without a lady or an Earl Grey tea. There's going to be a London Strand breakfast, so this is your really bold malty Assam black tea. Really good one. And of course, it has that obligatory really rich caffeine kick for you. There's an Assam tea, there's a spicy chai. If you want to go something a bit more fruity or herbal, you've got exotic mango and ginger, you've got lemongrass and peppermint, you've got a red bush, caramel velvet, blackcurrant and lavender. So a really good collection of teas. I do believe before they had a larger tea menu. So it'll be interesting to see if it is just purely these 8, or if they're going to expand it, and actually on the hard copy menu that you get on site, it's going to have a few more. If you are going to go with the afternoon tea tower, you are going to get an orange cranberry scone, the Footman's Feast, which is a Wonderland salmon crisp, the caterpillar cucumber roll, a tea party tart, painting the rose, curried chicken salad playing curd tart, a Tweedledee egg salad sandwich, a matcha Mad Hatter, and a flamingo croquet shoe.
Easy for you to say all that lot.
That was really easy for me to say, because, oh my word, that was quite a challenge. And as you can see from there is a range of different fillings, there's different breads. There's a really interesting sounding, the caterpillar cucumber roll is on pumpernickel, and that sounds really good. And some of these offerings do sound very well themed. They look petite, I will say that, but very nicely themed to Alice in Wonderland. Now, you can pay for some enhancements, which they used to offer before. Now, the Cheshire tea before was an extra $15 if you wanted the cheese selection. That now is being offered for $21, so I didn't think that was too bad.
Okay.
If you want to add in some caviar with mini chive biscuits and traditional accompaniments, it's a mere $120. But, you know, we're all earning 45 million a year, so that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, of course, these types of tea are not going to be these types of tea without that upsell. So as well as the enhancements with the caviar and cheese, you have got the offer of having a non-alcoholic speciality tea. There's the Curiosity, which is a strawberry raspberry refresher herbal tea with a touch of shimmering magic. You can have This Way, That Way, which is a peach mango refresher with a little bit of mint. Or you can go for the cocktail. You have a mint tulip, and that has some really strong whiskey with it. You have peach mango and a little bit of mint in there. And then you have the martini, which is a gunpowder Irish gin, Earl Grey tea, lemon and honey. And of course, you can have afternoon tea with a without a bit of fizz. You can get a bottle of your own Tattinger for $26 or a glass for $32. There's other cheaper champagnes available. But if you want to go up and get the best of the best, there's a Piper High-Sec Rare Cuvée Brut champagne all the way from France, which doesn't really fit with the Alice in Wonderland theme, but that's $480.
Well, say if we're earning that 46.5 mil, that's not a bad one to go for then.
Yeah. Now, I did a bit of research, Jane, and I was thinking about, does the price point, which I've not yet told you, of this afternoon tea offering match with what you would be paying in the UK if you went for a traditional afternoon tea? Because obviously it's a very British thing to do. It was introduced so that the fair ladies of the time didn't faint because they had to wait all the way through till maybe 8 o'clock at night to have their evening meal. So they had an afternoon tea, a light sandwich, some tea to keep them going so that they were not basically having stomachs that sound like a ravenous warthog. Originally, it was $35 for the Bedfordshire tea, and it did go up to, I believe, about $56 back in 2018. I looked at the Ritz because, let's be honest, if you are a visitor to the UK, most people around the world will have heard of the Ritz because of the song. And the price point there is $129 for an afternoon tea, £95. And that's their starting point. It suddenly escalates very quickly. I know in the region I live, in Yorkshire, we are very famous for our beautiful tea, which is, in my opinion, the best tea. And you could be looking at paying round about $50, 40, 37.50 in pounds. But yeah, that sort of price point. So what do you think Disney are launching their prices for this afternoon tea for an adult and then a child? And bearing in mind, as a reminder for those who keep forgetting, a child is someone aged 3 to 9. Once you hit 10, you're paying the adult price.
So price per person. It was 50 something. What did you say in 20?
It was $35.
And how long ago was that?
2018.
Is it getting up towards the $100 mark?
Do you know, Jen, you're not far off. It is actually going to set you back $79, which when you compare it with the Ritz, I don't think it's that bad because I've been looking at some themed afternoon teas to try myself in London, and a London price would probably be round about $80 or so for an afternoon tea in the UK that would be themed to this level.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Obviously, you've got to bear in mind this tax and gratuity on top, and then a child is going to be $49.
Yeah, but is it going to be food that a child is going to want to eat?
I think if you've got a picky child who is very funny with what they will eat, I think you are going to have to be very, very careful with this one because they may not eat and get their money's worth. If you've got an adventurous child who likes to try food of this type, then this is probably going to be a really lovely experience for them. But to be honest, if I've got $50 and I want to feed a kid, I'll be going somewhere like Polite Pig and stacking them full of some wonderful barbecue and mac and cheese.
Yeah, I think does this fall into that element of if you have a special occasion and you want to do something a bit different, perhaps?
Absolutely.
Because it's not it's very well themed, but is it what you and I would quintessentially call a British afternoon tea? And that can vary. To be fair, in this country, it can vary from region to region as to what you do and you do not include in that as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Looking at this, I think it is more in line with the themed afternoon teas that you can get in places in our capital city. You know, as a traditionalist, it's out there because it is a themed tea. I don't think the price point is too ridiculous, but you are going to be looking at round about $100. So it's a lot of money for something where you're probably going to say afterwards, let's go get something to eat.
Well, that's the only thing, isn't it? Is are you? It's not a meal as such, is it? For the size of the
Not for me.
portions, So you got to accept that you're paying for an experience more than you're paying for the food.
Absolutely. And if you go in there with that in mind and a dinner reservation for afterwards, I think you'll have an amazing time. And I think it will be a really nice way to spend something like maybe Mother's Day or Easter or your birthday, something really special.
Oh,
And
definitely, yeah.
I'm glad that Disney have brought it back in because I think a lot of customers who wanted this type of experience have been maybe possibly trying the cake bake shop over in the boardwalk area. So this is probably something that they're sort of thinking, oh, maybe I can go back to Disney now. So I think on the 19th of February, getting those reservations will be a challenge. So good luck if that is down to you, if you're wanting to go onwards from the 19th of March. I'll just sit from the comfort of my living room and watch everybody else indulge. And when I make my decision to go for an afternoon tea, it probably won't be here.
Yeah, I think the problem with this may well be us being British, and we can access that sort of fare fairly regularly over here, can't we? So it's maybe not the unique experience that it could be to non-British nationals.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one I'm planning on taking our lovely friends from Dis Down Under, Kat and Lewis, to, as they are in the UK in April. I am going to take them possibly, if they agree to this plan, to the local cheese factory. And they have a tea room there, and they do a cheese-based afternoon tea. And you get a mac and cheese, you get a cheesy quiche, you get some cheese, and you get a cheesecake and other bits and pieces. And that actually works out at round about $45 per person. And it looks a really hearty fare, which I think will be good because I'm going to make them do a bit of walking afterwards.
Sounds like a plan.
If the weather plays, Jane, that's where we're going to be.
Cool.
Anyway, while we're talking about our lovely friends at Dis Down Under, please go pop on over to their podcast because they're sharing all of the amazing experiences that they've had recently on their visit to Singapore, and it sounds amazing. So if you are wanting to go somewhere very different, this is a great destination for you. But also, if you're thinking about going on the Disney adventure, you need to check this out because they will tell you the best places to go to extend your time in Singapore, so you know how much it's going to cost you to get a Singapore sling and where the best ones are available. So give them a shout, say hello, listen in. It's always good fun to listen to Kat and Lewis.
Definitely.
Right, I think we are going to put a pin in that and call it a day for this week. I would just like to say a massive thank you to our wonderful Patreon supporters for doing us proud, keeping the show going, keeping us alive and vitalised. And if you want to do that, there's a couple more days left whilst you can still get a promotional offer to be a Patreon supporter for a little bit less money. Pop on over to patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. You can also support us by rating and reviewing our podcast on your listening platform, and also popping over to Instagram at Dis Dream Girls and giving us a like, giving us a comment, sending us some questions, sharing your Disney life with us, because that's what makes the show so unique and special, because we're just a couple of girls from England who like to talk Disney with the people who listen in. So you guys make the show. So thank you very much for doing that. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And bye from me.